several months ago, I took a lot of time when I was studying Tiger Woods.
Okay.
Because in my life, just like in jiu-jitsu, I don't want to know like what people do so much as I want to know why they do it, right?
Yeah.
And Tiger Woods, it's easy to at first think, okay, let's break this guy down. He really had a big fall, right? But really, when I think about him, what I really want to do is I really want to learn from him.
Sure.
Like we're talking about vision and a goal. And I really think in the sports field that I don't know that anybody's done it better than Tiger Woods.
From being able to like see something and go after it and actually do it? Or teach us how to not do that from like for the things that matter most.
Well, maybe
what do you
both.
mean?
Perhaps both.
Perhaps
how about let's
Jones
just talk just
right
a little bit. Yeah, how about let's just talk just a little bit about kind of Tiger Woods' process of where he got to where he was, right?
Yeah.
So I have a couple of things written down here. They say by the age of 2 years old, Tiger Woods made his first TV show appearance.
Okay.
Putting, right?
That's crazy.
By the time he was 3 years old, they know that he was beating 10-year-olds.
At 3 years old?
3 years old, he was beating 10-year-olds, okay? By the time he was 11, he was beating his dad on a regular basis.
Really?
In 18 holes, yeah, a whole game.
Wow,
okay?
dude.
So he was beating his dad. By 7th grade, he was already being recruited by Stanford.
Jeez.
Right? And then by the time he was in college, right, when he was in college, he was an All-American, right? And then when he turned pro at 20 years old, right,
imagine,
he was already touted as he was going to be the greatest golfer that ever lived.
Wow.
His first 2 contracts as a professional athlete were worth a combined $60 million.
Jeez, dude.
Okay. And then let's go on to his pro career, right? His pro career, which if you really look at things, right, it's easy to discard Tiger Woods because of what he's done, right?
Meaning
it's easy,
meaning his
scandal,
fall,
right?
Stuff, right?
Yeah, his scandal. It's easy to push him out the picture. But really, he probably had the greatest run as a professional athlete in the history of sports, in all of sports. Okay, think about this for a moment. Tiger Woods, this is what he did. As a professional, he was the #1 golfer in the world for 281 weeks. 281 weeks, man. Okay, at the peak of his career, and this is kind of where I really want to ask you questions too. At the peak of his career, do you know do you know about Tiger Woods at all?
So, no, I don't remember everything that I do know about him. Even I was obsessed kind of with his story when I started studying Bob Rotella and how champions think, and when I first started studying that like 5 years ago, and the idea of like the commonalities between champion athletes and champion businessmen and champion performers. But I don't remember hardly any of the facts, at least.
So one of the first things I remember about Tiger Woods is I remember like I never even really thought golf was like a real professional sport. Like I didn't know. I knew people did it for recreation as a kid, or as a teen, but I didn't know that like that was a career. Like people could do that as a career path. It wasn't like I was playing golf or even knew there was a high school team. I probably would have been blown away if I'd known that, right?
Right.
But I remember he was good enough in his sport that he transcended that sport to like mainstream.
Sure.
I remember being like, holy moly, like Tiger Woods is on Gatorade bottles. Like, who is this guy?
Tiger
Why?
Woods?
And why
Golf?
is he? Yeah. And then this game called golf. What is this game? So I remember he was powerful enough in his game and in his sport that he transcended that sport, and he touched just average citizens, average people, right? To get involved in the game and get interested in the game.
Right.
And I would say that his peak, I don't know if you know this, but I would say his peak was in 2008 at the Torrey Pines. Does that even ring a bell?
No.
So in 2008.
Well, sorry, I didn't like know the Torrey Pines and like that course because Jason Walton lives close to Torrey Pines. He lives on Del Mar, and it's like they go.
So you can't make this stuff up. It's just meant to be.
Yes. Anyway, so but no, I was in high school. What was I? A sophomore in high school in 2008, or freshman maybe sophomore. So I just don't remember really. I wasn't super into golf.
So I would say the reason this was probably the peak of his career is, something interesting happened for this tournament. Tiger Woods He had 2 fractures in his leg during this tournament. And not only did he have 2 fractures in his leg, after they discovered he had a torn ACL.
No way.
Absolutely.
Okay. This is like Kobe stuff again, dude.
We can talk about Kobe. Okay, Kobe, yeah, he came out and shot a free throw with a torn Achilles, right?
Right.
Michael Jordan, he played in a game with the flu. I get it. This is powerful, right? We're talking about a torn ACL and 2 fractures in your leg. He had emergency surgery after this and was out 6 months.
Wow.
Right. So this is pretty incredible. And he wins this tournament, right? He wins this major.
Okay.
So I would say that was the pinnacle of his career. And it would take, 10 plus years or so for him to ever come back and even win another major. And now who knows if he'll ever win another one.
I mean, all of that stuff led to him changing his swing and like getting new coaches. And then like kind of the scandal was all like peppered in there throughout that time, I think, right?
Yeah. So again, I don't want to know what people did as much as like why they did it, right? So with Tiger in my heart, I'm like, well, why did he do that? Like, not only why did he do that, but why did he win like that? Why was he able to transcend a sport? Why was he able to have nerves of steel like nobody's ever seen before?
Yeah, dude.
And to do it at such a young age, right?
Right.
So I'm interested on why. And to think about why, you really do have to think about the poem, right? Like, what was his dad? Who was his dad?
Right.
And where does his dad come from? They say that Tiger Woods' dad grew up kind of in the peak of like racism. Huh. It was kind of the peak of racism and the peak of poverty. He kind of grew up in poverty. He worked really, really hard. His dad got a college education. He joined the army. He became a Green Beret. And during Vietnam, he went to Vietnam. And as he left to Vietnam, he had a wife and 3 kids. Okay. And after Vietnam, when he came back home, he came home with a new wife.
No way.
He came home with a new family.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting, dude.
Yeah.
And so how old would Tiger have been when he got home then?
So Tiger Woods is from the new wife.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Tiger Woods was from the new wife. Okay.
Okay.
And Tiger Woods' dad was not ecstatic about having another baby.
Okay.
They say for the first year of his life that Tiger Woods really was, when he was with his dad, the idea of fatherhood for his dad was to put Tiger Woods in a high chair while he played golf in the garage.
Really?
Yeah. There's a old family story that they say at 9 months old, Tiger Woods crawled out of that high chair and hit a golf ball.
Really?
Mm-hmm. That he had spent so much time in that high chair watching his father play golf that he climbed out. Huh. And that was the beginning of Tiger Woods right there.
Dang, dude.
Right? So then I think about his dad and I think about that story. Like, what would it take to come home with a new wife?
Huh.
Right? Like what would happen in that scenario? And after he did the TV show, I know that Tiger Woods' family, they got really dedicated to the game of golf. And they worked really hard at it. You don't become that big of a champion without working harder probably than anybody who has ever done it before, right? And could you imagine at 2 years old?
Yeah.
Right? At 2 years old. They say I think it was like 6 or 7 years old, his father became put him through like a mental boot camp.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. His dad started mentally training him for the high pressures of the professional golf game.
Because he's just like, no, I'm going to make my son into like the best there ever was, or professional golfer.
Absolutely. They say he would throw change or jingle change when he was teeing off. They say he would throw the golf clubs when he was teeing off. They even say by the time Tiger Woods was 10 years old, his dad would cheat in playing him golf to beat him. And he said it's for mental toughness.
Really?
It's so you can learn to be mentally tough.
Interesting. Dang, dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and of course it continues to go on, right? After that, they say even Tiger Woods' own dad says that he intensified it as time went on. Like he even got worse and worse. And
his dad got more intense about this.
His dad got more intense about the mental training of this, right?
Okay.
He wanted his son to have the strongest mind possible.
Uh-huh.
Right. So he got he would cuss at his son, scream at his son, get on him. And they even developed a word which they said, at some point, Tiger, if you ever feel like I reached the limit, you can say this word. And the word was enough. Enough. And later they talk about it, and later in his career, in his professional career, they talk about that word enough, and they refer to it as almost as like a curse word, like as you're weak. That would
you're like you're tapping out.
You're tapping out.
Literally, exactly right.
Absolutely.
You're quitting.
Yes.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.